Welcome to the second of our regular employment updates, highlighting what's happening and changing in relation to employment law and practice. In this episode, we will cover the recent changes the Equality and Human Rights Commission has made to its interim guidance on single-sex facilities, new guidance on changes to non-disclosure agreements which are due to come into force on the 1st of October, and we will give you a progress report on the Employment Rights Bill. Firstly, in our first update, we covered the Equality and Human Rights Commission's interim guidance on single-sex facilities following the Supreme Court decision that a woman refers to a biological woman in relation to the Equality Act 2010. The Commission has now revised this guidance. In particular, it changed the short section on facilities and workplaces, setting out instead what is required under the Workplace Health, Safety and Welfare Regulations 1992. Instead of, in workplaces, it is compulsory to provide single-sex toilets as well as sufficient single-sex changing and washing facilities where these are needed. It now says, in relation to workplaces, requirements are set out in the Workplace Health, Safety and Welfare Regulations 1992. These require suitable and sufficient facilities to be provided, including toilets and sometimes changing rooms and showers. Toilets, showers and changing facilities may be mixed sex where they are in a separate room lockable from the inside, where changing facilities are required under the regulations, and where it is necessary for reasons of propriety. There must be separate facilities for men and women or separate use of those facilities, such as separate lockable rooms. The Commission makes no comment on these health and safety requirements. Its list of equality law considerations in workplaces and services that open to the public are now specifically limited to where separate single-sex facilities are lawfully provided. Please do read the updated interim guidance. It's not long, but it's important to read in full what the Commission now says. The government has announced its intention to bring provisions into force on the 1st of October, which will make confidentiality clauses and NDAs in England and Wales void and unenforceable to the extent that they purport to preclude a victim of crime from making specified disclosures of information to the police, lawyers, regulators and other listed bodies and persons. The Ministry of Justice has published guidance to help employers prepare. We recommend that where necessary, employers should update any internal guidance on the use of NDAs to ensure it reflects the new law when it comes into force, and to ensure that any template contracts, agreements containing NDAs are compliant with it. Finally, the mammoth Employment Rights Bill is now at the report stage in the House of Lords, after which there is a third reading before it returns to the House of Commons. See our link for the most current version of the bill. Once the Commons and Lords agree on the bill, it will receive royal assent and become an Act of Parliament. Whether there will be time for this to happen before Parliament breaks for its summer recess at the end of July is debatable. It could be that this will happen on the MP's return in September, but it will happen. Here is a list of some of the proposed major reforms. Please do pause the video to be able to read it fully. Of course, as is typical with employment legislation, further details on many of the policies in the bill will be provided through regulations after royal assent, and most changes will be brought into effect at a later date. Indeed, the government has indicated that the majority of reforms will take effect no earlier than 2026, and that one of the biggest changes, making the right to claim unfair dismissal a day one right, will only come into effect in autumn 2026 at the very earliest. However, many of the trade union changes are set to come into force either on royal assent or 2 months afterwards. We will, of course, closely track developments and will cover in detail the major reforms in future updates in plenty of time to prepare for any changes. And that's it for this update. Until our next one, do remember to have a look at our podcast for recent employment law cases and also our blogs for practical advice and tips, which often use something that's recently been reported in the news to explain how employers could handle a similar situation in the context of the workplace. Goodbye for now.